And so how was your day? Welcome everyone. How was your day yesterday and today, and waking up and having your breakfast and being in your room, your house, your home, your cabin, a tent, your shelter. I hope it's been adequate. It's been raining very heavily in my part of the world. We're getting all the rain that other people aren't getting enough of. One area of the world is in drought, going up in flames, and we're in floods and soaking wet. Imbalance. We used to believe that the world belonged to us, the earth belonged to us. And we had somehow the right to do whatever we wanted with it, to get what we needed from it. And we seem to have forgotten there's a certain right isn't really a valid statement. Rights, although we like the sound of it, but more useful is responsibility. More useful idea is not responsibility. Then that's much more relational, isn't it? Rights tends to set me apart, my right, my peace. Responsibility, I'm still valid. Yeah. It's not that I don't exist, I'm still valid, but I'll participate in something in a way when I'm caring for it, learning from it, taking care of it. Responsibility, much more useful than rights, because it always understands we're in a mutual domain. Everything alive, everything sentient has its own ways of being. We have to find harmony within that. We can't exist validly as separate, independent entities. We're in a codependent reality. You look at that, consider that, reflect on that, reflect on the results of not fulfilling that responsibility, and we see something quite catastrophic coming into being. Pretty much this is the problem of the idea of being an independent entity, which we kind of like, because it means, yeah, I exist. I'm not just a blob, I exist. But then you change that to responsibility, which says, yeah, you're still valid, still what you think and say is important, but it's going to be about what's the most harmonious way we can coexist, rather than what's just good for me as an independent entity. And this is right view, the foundation of the Buddhist path. Right view. From this, generosity, morality naturally arise as obvious ways in which we behave. Loving kindness, compassion arises. And we that right view acts as the foundation, the guideline for right attitude, which is of non-aversion, non-harshness, and non-greed. And that acts as the foundation for right mindfulness. One sustains mindfulness with that in mind. Where's the harmony here? Where's the balance here? How do these things work together? And this is a liberation teaching, because it also means that instead of the center of the universe being a separate I, a separate entity, no, the center of the universe is called wisdom and compassion, as it arises in chitta, in awareness. And wisdom and compassion is a much more useful and stable foundation than a sense of the independent self. The independent self was to claim something, own something, defend itself from something, accumulate something, stand apart from something, and causes havoc. And in the search for stability, when conditions are arising for this citta, which are tumultuous, disagreeable, uncertain, bland, flavorless, the citta searches for stability, then it tends to move towards the I am. I get this, I'll have one of these. And rather than what's the harmonious way to deal with disagreeable feeling or uncertain situation. How do I coexist with this without, how do I coexist with this? Does life always have to be constant flow of pleasant feeling? No, it can't be, can it? Right? Can it? If it can't, then how do we coexist with unpleasant feeling? If it can't be the kind of visions that I find agreeable, how do I coexist with perspectives that I find disagreeable? Yeah. And then we're really testing this out in our meditation in terms of just what arises in this simplicity of presence, being here, and with what arises in the body and the mind. Some of it agreeable, some of it disagreeable, some of it just confusing, and just staying stable by knowing that, by being aware of that. Now you kind of check it out. You're living in your home, your house, your home. Have you reviewed it? Look around. What does it mean to you? I'm very grateful to have a roof over my head. I haven't been rained on. I'm very pleased with that. But by and large, in homes, the roof is the last thing you really think about. You look at the walls, decorations, the accoutrements, the furnishings, and so forth. The pieces of things that people have given you. You have your photograph somebody's given you, or a photograph of yourself when you were 10 years younger, and your children make you feel happy. Images, signs that give you a feeling of surrounded by something that's pleasing, comfortable, established, agreeable. How much they're signs, aren't they? You've got photographs, nobody there, really, but it gives you a sign of that which you find familiar or agreeable. Then we feel, I'm in a warm, comfortable place because I have that photograph. And these things can be quite important for people. Buddha images do the same sort of thing. These are signs. And we live really, although we tend to think we live on a physical world, you don't really. Your heart doesn't. Your heart lives in your interpretations of the physical world. Your heart lives in how they affect you, whether they give you a sense of comfort, beauty, agreeable, spacious, clean, tidy, fortunate, exciting, interesting, or the other way, disagreeable, horrible. We're living in a world of signs, images, impressions that the citta gets affected by. A sign of hostility, a sign of ease, a sign of untidy, so on. And so someone seeking their comfort and stability, which sounds like a good idea, learns to find where these signs arise in the mind. Where these signs arise. The sign of comfort, the sign of stability, the sign of ease, the sign of spaciousness, the sign of, that which the citta feels comfortably settled in. So you might have memories that you remember that give you a sense of gladness. That sign, a happy day, a good friend, that arises and you feel comforted by that. But of course, the good friend could be 5 years dead by now, in reality. And so the apparent material reality isn't what you're benefiting from, but the sign, the sanya, the perception. And it's important to find those perceptions, and understand those perceptions which are endearing, gladdening, comforting. And in, of course, people have different things they like or enjoy or feel that it's the right thing or the best thing. That we look for signs which are harmonious, gladdening to the heart. And if you find that you're tuning into the activities that generate these signs, they're going to be activities of goodwill, activities of steadiness and reliability. So you get a sense of dignity and self-respect. Activities that do with not just blindly following impulses, but have a steady, reflective awareness of what you're doing. That gives rise to the sign of clarity and wisdom. The sign of generosity, you have bestowed attention, support on others, you feel gladdened by that. And the Buddha recommends that we spend some time recollecting these, because these are our intimate home. And the more you cultivate actions that are to do with carefulness, caring, straightforward, respectful, the more that you're going to build up your intimate home into something that means your physical home doesn't matter too much. Physical situation doesn't matter too much. It's just keeps the rain off your back. And these are and they're signs that are to do with the relationship. So if there's respect, it's respect that I've shown and offered towards others. Kindness towards others, kindness towards myself. It's always some kind of action that we do rather than a property that we own. It's through action that we do, mental action, heart action that we do, that gives rise to the most useful signs, heart actions that we do behind our speech, behind our physical actions. Heart actions that we do give rise to the most profitable signs because they're harmonious. And we've lived them out. And therefore they go deep into the citta. They're not just painted on top. They're deeply embedded. Whenever we act in a certain way, action, or called intention, is one of a very deep channel for the citta. Notice everything you do, there's an intention, something jumps up in your heart to do it. Wherever there's an intention to do, to act, or to refrain from acting, to decide this or to decide that, some kind of intention arises. And you're contemplating this in your life through mindfulness. And so that's very much right there embedded in how the heart operates. So if we get, so if the quality of that action is fruitful, enjoyable, pure, rich, heartful, it's going to shape the heart into the right shape and the right condition, isn't it? And we see that right shape, the shape of the heart, is dependent upon how we act. So action always implies relationship. I act towards something, even towards my own body or towards my thoughts. Every time there's an action, there's an intention. Do you fight with yourself? Yeah. Do you slap yourself? Do you shrug yourself off? Or do you nobly support your thoughts, your actions, and your body? Steering it, guiding it. And this is something we should constantly cultivate. It's not something we own. I remember I was in a dentist waiting room a month or so ago. So there was nobody else in the room. So it's just this open space. They didn't even have a door. I guess it's just like an alcove or a large space you can sit in. So I was sitting in there, the way I do, you just sort of sit there. Because I'm used to just sitting in places without doing anything. I'm just sitting there, and then suddenly this figure appears in the doorway, and a woman appears in the doorway and says, "I'm a Catholic." I sort of laughed a little bit. I found that she said, "What's so amusing about that?" I said, "I just kind of find it funny that the first thing you say when you see me is I'm a Catholic." She said, "Well, I'm a member of the one true church," and sat down. Oh dear, isn't it so sad? The first thing you do of being someone is defend yourself by claiming who you are, how you're distinct from the other person. I mean, she could have come in and said, "Oh, teeth are a problem, aren't they? Because we're in a dentist waiting room. We've had something in common." Or, "It's a nice day," or, "It's terrible, this pandemic," or something we had in common. Yeah. She could have hit the what we have in common thing. But the first thing that happened was to somehow claim herself as different. Because she could see me, clearly I don't seem to belong to the one true church. Maybe I do. How did she know? I mean, anybody can wear these things as they want. And that sense in which you set yourself apart, and you see there's kind of like a defensiveness, claiming, like, "I'm this." Okay, like, good, fine. Enjoy, be happy, great, very pleased for you, lovely. If you found the true way, fine. Yeah, but it wasn't that. It wasn't like a rejoicing. It was a semi-hostile statement. It was a vindication, like, bam, I'm different from you. Isn't it sad that the first thing we have to do on meeting another person is to claim how different we are and who's better? Rather than the first thing we should do is claim, where do we come together? Where do we obviously have differences. Where's our common ground? Wouldn't that be a useful thing to do, rather than who's right and who's wrong? So you can see, I don't know. I can imagine that, in the one true church, they probably teach loving kindness. Great, I'm on board with that. One True Church, they probably teach morality. Yep, I'm on board with that. Yeah. And One True Church, they probably teach love your neighbor as yourself. Yep, I'm on board with that. I can do that. We're all Catholics. Great, you know. Well, you could have found some common ground there, because it's not the values. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure the aspects I don't really find myself tuning into, you know, in the Catholic faith, but you know, I can go along with some of it and feel, yes, I completely agree with it. But whatever, it's not the values, it's the claiming, the ownership, as if you're the only one who has them. Your group, the only one who has them. It's not the values themselves, it's the claiming, right? That act of claiming as mine. See, the kind of immediate conflict arises. And claiming that the other person is not the same. The other one is not the same. So this claiming and rejecting, the two go together. If I claim something, I reject things that don't fit into that. Claiming and rejecting causes conflict, doesn't it? And certainly there are modes of behavior, slaughter, you know, that I would not wish to follow. I'm not going to participate in them. But if any of the violent energies arise in my mind, me saying they shouldn't be here, I reject them, is not going to make them go away, is it? So the law of the external is, yes, you can say, no, we don't act in that way. But the law of the internal, the citta, means you can't just reject things, because that doesn't make them go away. If I feel a violent impulse, me saying, no, I don't support a violent impulse isn't going to make it go away. What is going to make it go away, or make it, or the proper relationship to that is, here's a violent impulse. Don't act on this. How does it feel? How does it feel? Pause and let it move through. And it will tend to arise and move through. Because that's the nature of impulses and intentions. They're temporary energies that rush through. And if I'm with that experience, so I haven't said, oh no, I'm not a violent person, I'm a Buddhist monk, I shouldn't have violent impulses, stop it. You know? If I've claimed being a Buddhist monk as some kind of final identity, then it's going to be problems. I have to repress violent impulses, and that doesn't make them go away. It just shuts things off. And there's a sort of sense of tension and non-understanding of what violent impulses are based upon. But if I first of all open to that, let it pass through, okay, I'm not going to act upon it, but there it is. How does it feel? Hot, strong, rushing, quite unpleasant. Quite unpleasant. What's it trying to do? It's trying to push away things I don't like. It's trying to give me security. I'm not going to stand for that. She said that. I'm going to tell her to shut up. She shouldn't say those things to me, because it affects me. It doesn't respect me. It doesn't like me. It doesn't treat me fairly. Therefore, I'm going to tell her to shove off. Or even worse, you know. But she doesn't respect you. What doesn't she respect, and how do you know that? How do you know that she doesn't respect you? What does she not respect? What is she criticizing? How much of that is you? How much do you identify with your thoughts and actions, or your state of your body? How much you identify with it? How much do you say, I'm fine? She says, you look really scruffy today. Why don't you ever tidy yourself up? You look pathetic. Oh, maybe she's right. Or she doesn't like it. I'm fine. She doesn't like it. That's her problem, isn't it? Or can we talk about this? Why does it bother you, the way I dress? So finding a common ground. Can we talk this over? Rather than immediately jumping into, attack, defend. On that common ground, I retain my dignity. I retain my clarity. I don't feel that terrible fire running through me. Instead, I think, oh, she's unhappy. Wonder what the problem is. She sounds unhappy. Maybe it's something I did or said, or perhaps I could change that, or perhaps she needs to understand this is the way I am, but we'll work it out. So you look at what is my violent impulse based upon? What is my violent impulse based upon? I am this. This is me. This is my body. This is the way I speak. This is me. This is mine. This is the way I want to do it. I'm an independent person. You can't criticize me. Who are you? It's based upon some of that, isn't it? Search for stability. I want to hold on to this because this is what I am. It makes me feel, it gives me the right to be here. I feel stable. And now you're attacking it. Now, if I didn't, but just consider anything that one holds on to as an identity, whether it's the shape of your body, the manner of your speech, the color of your hair, or your way of cooking food. It's the condition. It's somebody will like it, somebody will not like it, some people won't even notice it. Because that's the truth of the matter, isn't it? And some will find that maybe disagreeable and react to it. And if we don't claim for ourselves, we don't claim our actions or our apparent actions, our possessions to be ourself, something we take a stand upon, then we're ready to listen, to not be bothered. You didn't like it. Sorry about that. That's a shame, but here we are. And not get into this defense and not feel violated by the opinions of other people, by the views and opinions of other people. Or feel you've got to have it all right. A lot of this search for stability is to get it right. I'm not just looking for things for just cheap pleasure. I want to do things so they're right and people feel good about that. I've done the right thing, done the right action, did the best I could. That was right. I put myself in it was right. I want to feel I've done that. And of course, you can do that and somebody else will not think it's so good after all. They didn't like it or they didn't notice it. Didn't even notice it. Didn't say, oh, that was great, just didn't even notice it or didn't like it. So, this is what the worldly wins: praise, blame, being noticed, not being noticed, pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, succeeding, not succeeding, trying the best you can and still not quite getting the results you wanted. These are the worldly winds. And we try to find a stable wind. You're trying to find a wind that doesn't blow. Yeah? How realistic is that? I want a steady wind that never changes. It's constant, warm feeling, approval, success. And if that doesn't happen, there's something wrong with me. So because I'm identified with my work, I'm identified with my possessions, I'm identified with my features, I'm identified with my nationality or something like that. Why am I identified with them? Because they give me a sense of stability. I know where I am, I know who I am, I'm in the right place. And so then we're actually trying to make a stable ground out of a blowing wind. And there's a lot of energy, a lot of frustration, a lot of desperation, a lot of holding on, a lot of energy used up in trying to make the wind stable. And so this, of course, is not just in the social world, it's also when we sit in our own silence. How good are you at meditating? Not that good, really. Could do better. Yeah, I mean, I get these funny thoughts coming up, and then I felt sleepy yesterday, I felt really tired, and then I realized all these things I've got to do, so I got agitated and restless, and I couldn't understand what the teacher was talking about, and I drifted off and felt a bit guilty about that because I was suddenly noticed the cat walking across the room, and I got more interested in the cat than this profound Dhamma talk about liberation. So I felt guilty about that. Not good, is it? Not good. Could do better. Red marks. Failure. Not getting anywhere in the meditation. No, not really. Just readjust. Look at the sense. These are the conditions that arise, the mental, psychological conditions, the energies that are shifting and changing. And what I'm saying is to be open to all of it. To be open to all of it. Doesn't mean you're going to act upon it, claim it, or reject it. Just be open to all of it. Notice that the fundamental sign of all of it is it changes. The fundamental sign of all of it is that you don't own it. It happens. The sign of it, all of it, is it never really completes. It's never resolved. It's called unsatisfactory. That's the sign of that. And those signs, which seem to be not very comfortable signs at all, when you meditate, if you keep those signs in mind, this is a changing condition. This is not who I am. This is not something I own. This is something I can't expect to arrive at a fixed, stable place. Through those signs, the mind withdraws from that and finds its own stability, independent of the world, external world, internal world, independent of it. This is how it is. This is how it is. That independence is a sense of dispassion and coolness. If you go through a day or a few days on retreat, how many of those times you're going to feel really alert, bright, sharp, on the ball, clear? What's the percentage? go through your life. Yeah. You started off kind of not really understanding what was going on, not really having the intellectual savvy. And as you get older, that's the same thing. You start to lose it. Memory goes. People get what they call it senile. It's just a function. It's just what happens. Sometimes people get it very severely. People who are brilliant philosophers, academics, find they can't remember what day of the week it was or get Alzheimer's. Not unusual. Where was that bright, sharp, clear, functional mind? Whose was that? Who was that fine, strapping, strong young man? Where did he go? Yeah. Where was that wonderful woman with the flowing locks when she's 70? Where did she go? Where was the dancer when after they twisted their ankle? Yeah. Yes, it's true. It's sobering, but it's true. So do we place our identity on functionality? Yeah. On being able to effectively make things happen? Realizing the chances of making things happen are not that great, really. Yeah. Or do we instead say, oh, there is a stable place and it's in the center of this? And it doesn't mean you just dismiss everything as conditions. It means that you have a poise within that. Not hanging on, not frightened of it, not despairing about it, not rejecting it, not blaming it on yourself or others. And then from there, as you survey experience, the quality of citta is smooth, compassionate, easeful. So from the signs of impermanence, not self, unsatisfactoriness, when they're really fully sensed, the sign of ease arises and liberation, freedom, taste of freedom arises. This is a big paradigm shift, isn't it? From what we've learnt, from the way we've been acclimatized in our culture, in our society, and from the way it seems to be when you look around in the world of sense consciousness. There's definitely somebody here, big lump of meat walking around. It seems to be able to do things. It walks, it moves things, it eats things, it paints things, it fixes things. It's definitely seemingly a solid entity in a world of other things. That's the way it seems. So naturally, your energies and your intentions, your actions are very much built upon that model. But the law or the truth of the citta realm, heart realm, is no. There isn't a solid entity. There's no solid entity. There are just intentions moving, perceptions, impressions arising, feelings shifting, appearances that shift and change, agreeable, disagreeable, comforting, sorrow. It's just this. And it's not, we're not making it up. It stares you in the face. It comes home time and time again. And one's attempts to nail it down create frustration and tension. And we say, this is the real world. Because that world in which I was an independent entity, moving around, doing this and doing that, and digging this and chopping that down, Right? That model has led to war, greed, abuse, destruction. You didn't do it personally, maybe, but that model of the independent entity doing whatever she or he felt like for their own welfare, that's what's led to what we're in now. Unsustainable. And it hasn't led to satisfaction. You know, human beings now we're now the species. We've managed to wipe out most everything else, apart from the things we farm, you know. And yet we got it all. We got it all. We're still not happy, contented, comfortable. We're still not at ease. In fact, we're still fighting with each other, anxious, uncertain, so forth. So how real was that? So learning this, really training oneself, this new model, your stability arises from your independence from the world of change, and yet your compassion for the world of change. Your disengagement and also your responsibility within that. You're not saying, oh, well, never mind. No, you're saying, I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing this because this is beautiful action. My sharing, my giving, my compassion. Call them mine. These are these energies that one puts out. If you bring that into your own inner domain and start practicing it, you see the validity of that. I can't always have a good day, but I can have a day in which the end of it, I can think, yeah, that was some difficult stuff I moved through. Yeah, here we are. You know, did I learn anything from that? This is a process I'm going through. Or I'm going through. Can I, you know, what can be learned about that? How can I learn to be more open to and able to bear the flow of disagreeable or uncontrollable feelings, and just be open to them and let them pass through. If I can do that, I might actually begin to get a dispassionate perspective on what makes them uncomfortable. My preferences, my limitations, if I'm really open to all of it, feeling, moods, perceptions, they're just like wind blowing through. They're just wind blowing through. So, you know, they become more than that whenever there's a resistance to them. They become like very heavy, don't they? You know, the bird who can sail on the wind it's much more free than the person who's trying to stand against it, where they feel the wind becomes like a fist. When you resist it, can you float on it? Float on it. Yeah. So maintaining your own dispassion and equanimity towards conditions. Okay, so some reflections for the day. And you want to take a few minutes to shift anything that seems useful in that. You don't have to remember it all, but there might be one or two points that resonated for you. And those are the things that was the piece that was for you, the piece that resonated for you. None of it resonated for you? Okay, well, we still got the body, we still got breathing. We'll return to that. So take a few minutes and then perhaps we'll sit together and for about a half hour or so. So this is a holistic model with the qualities of heart and the body, qualities of body, and even the qualities of the intellect. How do they come together and support each other? So we say, okay, let's see if we can find a way to the upright body where it feels most stable, calmed and steadied. But as you're doing that, you're making it also a matter of how does the heart feel comfortable in that endeavor, so we're not straining, trying to make something happen that isn't happening. It's a comforting attitude of the heart, just supporting, carefully contemplating body, how it sits, how it feels most open and steady. Not forcing it, but actually supporting it. And in that, as the heart becomes more engaged with the practice, begin to review what's happening in the mind. Don't need that. That's tangled. Don't need that. That may be useful. Put that aside. What's really helpful here? Simplify, simplify, simplify. Get the thinking mind on board. Say to it, could you just basically keep aware in a thoughtful, intelligent way, not thinking, but listening and taking a note. Okay, this feels about right. Tension in the left shoulder. Okay, relax there. Something in the abdomen still feels a little bit tense. Maybe just rock on the spine a little, loosen up. Oh no, the tension was created by me pushing too hard. You trust, let the process unfold. So the heart and body coming together, and thinking mind just acting like a almost like a coach, saying, think you're just not engaging enough yet. Okay. Give it a little more, linger, remember to linger a little more. Linger quiet, let the body come to you. It seems strange, but no, in terms of the realm of the heart, you have to invite your body in. Ask it, are you happy here? Steady yet? Come in. You do have enough room? Oh, and just this sort of like question, simple caring question, the body picks that up. It starts to breathe more deeply because we're entering a proper relationship. Is the body fully arrived yet? So when I say fully arrived, you know what that is? It's all, there's a certain tingling to it, there's a certain vitality you can feel. So it's no longer a thing out there, an object out there, but it's a presence, something, a creature with its vitality, its sensitivity. It's happening here. It's not a person. It's a wonderful, flowing, creative force. Seeing how much arrives, and we might find that, yeah, those pieces that really feel quite uncomfortable or dead, stiff. So dwelling where the sense of the body feels alive, pick up that sign, dwell in that. Extend your awareness over the entire form, the comfortable pieces, the uncomfortable pieces, include it all. Include it all. Don't close down, disapprove, fight with any of it. Breathing in, breathing out. The first law, connect to all of it as an entire entity, as one thing, not as separate bits and pieces, but as one thing, one world, the body world, with all the unevenness in that, but connect to the wholeness of that. There's no identity in that. If you're finding painful experience in the body, say it's in your shoulder or your neck, for example, let's trace the line of the pain. It's really quite intense in the center, and just continue extending awareness down the extremities of the painful area to the place where it's less painful. Say, okay, pain in the neck, but somewhere down side of my body, that's where it fades out. You know, staying at the place where the pain fades out a little, opening, breathing into that, creating more space around that. Allow the energy of the pain to travel rather than resist it. Connect the energy of that pain to the energy of breathing in and breathing out. Breathing into the pain, breathing out through the pain. Connect it to the whole body. Feel it as heat, vibration. In the bodily field. Extending, like widening the lens from the most difficult piece to where it's less difficult, to areas of your body that are not in difficulty, like your feet or your hands, or around your eyes or your face. Include it all. So you go against the constricting, defending habit into the opening, connecting, unifying process. Makes the heart big. cultivate, it's mutual. So the body also keeps reminding the heart, patience. Stay steady. Tune in to what's useful here. Simplicity, even the places that are not painful or unpleasant, enjoy. Body reminding, don't just stay contained, patient. You get great strength from just this. So we don't really talk about coming out of meditation so much just as opening the sense doors. Try to, acknowledge the effect of that. It's been a suddenly world out there. Okay. So let's get that sense of openness, stability. The world out there appears as what? Sights, seeing, and keep the seeing just wide. Notice anything that attracts or irritates or catches the eye. Keep relaxing that till it's just the seeing within the field of your awareness. You might want to move a little. A sense of body feeling its own way. Enjoying some small movement. Is there any sense of relief from holding things steady? Maybe the stability can be lighter. Lightness. And we can enter into something more mobile, interactive, stretching, walking. The phenomena flowing internally, interest, feeling, moods, externally, sights, sounds. And the meeting of the two. Okay, let's take some private time and to refresh yourselves, do what needs to be done, have something to eat and so on. And we'll gather in the Zoom room again in 3 hours' time.